Hi everyone, it's Amy. Welcome to Strength Reversed, and thank you for joining me for the third quarterly catch-up of 2021. I thought it was the second quarter, but I'm realizing there's only one more quarter to go. So the days are long and the years are short. Isn't that what they say? Get ready for smell-o-vision, like I promised. The winner was Mandarin Sun. The close second was Saltwater Orchid, and it's this beautiful purple color. I will describe this one in an upcoming video, but right now, close your eyes if you want the smell-o-vision experience, because this is happening. First of all, open your eyes again. This candle, look how beautiful it is when it burns. The melted wax is a little darker, and so it looks just like the sunset that's on the cover. Okay, now close your eyes. You have to imagine yourself holding an icy, fruity drink with an umbrella in it. It smells like oranges and pineapple and maybe a hint of coconut. And you can hear the waves crashing on the sand, and you can feel the ocean breeze. And the sun is sinking below the horizon, and everything is just golden from the sunset. And you know that summer is about to be over, and you have that nostalgic feeling where you love summer and you kind of miss it, but you're ready for fall. That is the smell of Mandarin Sun. Open your eyes. Okay, so is that yummy or what? This is so gorgeous. I wish you could see it in person. I love watching this one burn because the colors are just beautiful. I love it. Anyway, thank you, Jason. So I'm going to dive right in. I wanted to do this outside because we went to the pumpkin patch this weekend and got some pumpkins and stuff like that. But the weather's not cooperating, and neither was the neighbor's nail gun. Okay, it just was too loud. So here I am, and maybe next time it will be more fallish and festive. I'm going to start by telling you what I'm up to tarot-wise, and then some books and miscellaneous stuff, and then I'll share the shows with you at the end, because you know I'm kind of a TV junkie. First of all, not too much has been going on as far as tarot, the usual, but also I have been really just mulling over tarot for a particular reason. Let me just go, I made some videos about some decks that I've received from friends called Decks from Friends, and I did a video about this one. This is the special edition, limited edition Murder of Crows from Manuela, and then the Antique Anatomy from Jason. Both happen to be perfect for spooky season. I also made a video about the holographic weight and the mystical moments, which I bought for myself and I've been loving. But I did not make a video about the Edgar Allan Poe tarot, which I got last November for my birthday from Michael. I've read the whole guidebook. It's gorgeous and also great for Halloween season. So these decks are going to work perfectly together, and I'm going to work on these throughout the month of October. And I just made a video also about Journaling the Tarot by Andy Matzner, and I've been looking through this book and enjoying the quotes and the journal prompts. That one was just on my last video about tarot journaling, so check out that video. If you're interested, you can get this on Amazon. One thing I've been watching is Carol's channel. Now, I'm going to link Practical Mystic Carol and her channel down below because it has so much information. She's been reading tarot for a long time, and she is just sharing a wealth of information with us. I'm watching her numerology series, and she also has a court card series, and who could not use more information about the court cards, because what do they mean anyway? Who knows? So thank you, Carol, for sharing that. I've taken several pages of notes with each video. She's doing the aces, twos, threes, fours, etc. And it's my notebook's getting full. So that's a lot of info. What I've been doing mostly woo-woo wise is working on trying to meditate a little more, connect with my guides a little more, and connect with them even during the school day, which I have had a problem doing always. Usually I turn off my car, and as I'm walking into school, anything spiritual, my tarot card of the day, any, thoughts that might keep me from being stressed out or whatever, just go out of my mind. And I've been really doing a lot better with doing little things throughout the day to kind of bring me back to myself. I have a friend who I've known her for years. Her name is Mirabai, and she does Reiki, and she does hypnotherapy, and she's a medical medium, and she does a lot of things, but basically spiritual coaching. And so I've been working with her for a few months because I said at the beginning of the year that I feel like I'm on the precipice of something. I feel like for the last few years, not that I've been stuck, but that I've been in stasis, and that I'm keeping myself small to stay safe. And and this is like outside of the pandemic. So, this year I just felt like I was on the edge and ready to take the leap, but I didn't know, like, take the leap into what, who knows. But I am feeling more called to read tarot for others more than I do. I know that I want to read tarot for people who are not my friends and family, okay? Because I find it very difficult to read for friends because they've already told me all the details and I already have an opinion. So, right now, what I've been working on is just writing down who it is that is my audience. Who do I want to read for? I don't want to do tarot for a living. I'm not trying to start a tarot business or anything like that. I just feel called to use that tool to be in service to others somehow. Not full time, but more than I am now. And I know that I want to answer big questions. And I was talking to my friend Tracy. So I'm writing down all this, what I think tarot is and who I want to read for and what a reading looks like and all of this stuff to try to figure out how to put that out there and find the people who are supposed to find me. And I was talking to my friend Tracy, and she does hypnotherapy, and she said, I'm not a strip mall hypnotherapist, so I don't want to help you with your nail biting. And that's how I feel about tarot. Like, I don't really care what your ex-boyfriend's up to now, okay? Like, I'm not interested in questions like that. I want the big questions. So I'm just working that out in my brain, and there's all sorts of different levels of imposter syndrome and fear and self-doubt and all that other bullshit. So that's what I've pretty much been doing for many months. So there you go. Okay, let's move on to books. I passed this book on to Michael. I got it at a thrift store, but I pulled it up on my computer. It is called Nightwoods, and it's by Charles Frazier. I think his best known book is Cold Mountain. This book, I would highly recommend it. It is beautifully written. It's a very, I would say, gentle, even though it deals with topics that maybe aren't so gentle. The protagonist is a woman who's pretty much a hermit, and she's had things happen in the past that have made her really pull away from everyone and everything, and so she lives on the outskirts of town. And her sister was murdered by her husband, and so the protagonist ends up getting custody of these kids who are extremely traumatized and have very severe issues and are barely verbal because of everything they've seen. And the ex-husband is acquitted. And so he ends up coming to town looking for the kids, basically because he wants a paycheck. And he ends up, he's not a good guy, and he's terrorizing them again. But it's not as direct as all of that. There are just other things going on. The way people are characterized and the way the relationships between everyone in town are described is just so beautiful. The ending, of course, is not as dramatic and neat and tidy as I really craved, but it's more realistic. There is also a part where she goes back to these women, these three sisters, which of course, three sisters, okay, the faiths, who were her teachers in this small town. And she talks about how they had a really sweet deal because they were all misses, they were all married, but their husbands worked like away. And so they really were single, even though they had the advantages of being married, which was genius. But it was such a good scene because they described the difference between being a teacher and being a parent just so perfectly. I took pictures of those pages so that I could read that whenever I wanted to. So I would definitely recommend that book. And I've also been working on a series called the 8th Day series. And this is a young adult series that I started reading. My students are read one day a week, where they just read and I read along with them. And the first book is called The 8th Day. It is by Diane K. Salerni. The second book I also read, it's called The Inquisitor's Mark. And this third one, which I just started, is The Morgan's Curse. These books, they move quickly. I usually don't love young adult novels because they leave me, wanting, I hoped it would have been more. And they're a little bit surfacey for me, but these were really fun. They're so interesting. You just keep going, oh, I wonder, let me get back to that book because I want to find out what happens next. So the 8th Day series is about this secret 8th day that happens between Wednesday and Thursday. And people who are referred to as normals do not experience or have any knowledge of that day because we just experience a 7-day week. But there are people called transitioners who at a certain age they start experiencing the 8th day. So there's like this day that just happens that everything is offline because nothing's programmed for 8 days. And so they have generators or it's just this whole other society. And then there are people called kin who only exist on the 8th day. So their lives are kind of stretched out a very long time because, they don't live an entire week. Anyway, it's also based on the mythology of the Knights of the Round Table and King Arthur. And these are the descendants of those people. And there was a spell cast to prevent the world from falling apart and things like that. And so these are the descendants of the people who cast that spell, and some of them want to do away with it. And so everyone's fighting, and people have tattoos on their wrists that they show each other. So they know what family you're from. And some families have certain powers, like you might have the power to make people tell the truth, or the power to change memories, or things like that. It's really good. And I would suggest it even if you are an adult, even if you're an old adult and not a young adult. I've also been reading just a bunch of boring junk for work and stuff, manuals for how to do this computer program I'm doing. Let's not talk about that. I'm back to knitting. I'm on a knitting jag. You know, I've knit for years, but it comes and goes. My interest waxes and wanes, and so I love working with cotton yarn, and I've decided that I want to make a whole bunch of dishcloths, because I do have a couple of dishcloths that I've knitted out of cotton, and I absolutely love them. They're my favorite. So I'm thinking I might make some for Christmas gifts and some for myself. And they go quickly. I cannot do big knitting projects because I lose interest before I'm done. So I like the short and quick ones. I have started listening last Monday, the September, was that 27th? A brand new podcast started, which I was really excited for, by Jackie Gillies, who is Australia's psychic to the stars. And she is also on The Real Housewives of Melbourne, which is how I discovered her. And I think I might have seen that series back when I had actual cable, because I can't find it anywhere anymore. But she is very positive and down to earth, and I really like her. And so she talks about being psychic. Last week she talked all about how she found out that she was psychic and how she kind of got to being a psychic. Anyway, I think it's called Shine It Up, because that's her thing. She says, shine, shine, shine. And when people ask her, how did you know that? She'll go, well, I'm psychic. Anyway, I love her, and try her podcast if you're looking for a good one. I work out every Monday. It's a workout day, and so I put that on my headphones, and that's what I'm listening to. Okay. The shows I've been watching, I will start with documentaries. I love a good documentary. I watched on Netflix the Bob Ross documentary, and that was pretty depressing. I still love Bob Ross, but I don't think I would buy any more merchandise, because I did not know that this couple ripped him off and his estate and kind of cheated them they don't see any money from it, so it was pretty bad. I saw one on Netflix called Misha and the Wolves, and this was about a woman during World War II who escaped the Nazis. She was a child, and she ran away and, was taken care of by wolves and interacted with wolves, and it became this international story, and I think a book. But then someone who was either writing about her or somehow basically discovered that it was all bullshit, and it was kind of a scandal. So I had not heard of this story, but that was pretty interesting. I watched one episode of Cocaine Cowboys. I forget what that's on, but it's about obviously some cocaine dealers in the 80s out of Miami. I didn't get past episode 1 because it's like, okay, so they were coke dealers, and that was pretty much it. So it was a whole hour of telling you how they sold coke. I mean, it just didn't float my boat. It just wasn't super interesting to me. But it might be interesting to other people. I've heard good things from other people about it. And then on Hulu, I watched Lula Rich, which is about LuLaRoe. If you don't know what that is, they're an MLM and they sell clothes. And if you go to any Goodwill or thrift store, there's probably a special rack of LuLaRoe clothes, because people are unloading them like crazy, because they started ripping off the people who sold the clothes for them. I've always been fascinated by stuff like that, because I'm just not the kind of person who would come up with $5,000 to start selling Avon. Like, I just don't think that's a good idea. And I'm fascinated that other people thought it's a good idea. It's just a whole thing. And what the company did was crazy. And they're still out there. And anyway, so again, another rainy day, you can tell what I do when it rains. I watch cheesy documentaries. Okay, so regular shows that I've been watching. Finding Love, which I think is on Prime. I think that's what it's called. It's about two friends during World War One, maybe, and they are completely different. One seeks adventure, and the other one just likes safety. It's really sad at the end, and I cried. And I usually do not ever cry at movies, but this one I cried at the end. I am 2 episodes into Squid Game, which was very stressful. So I'm taking a little break from it, but Michael and I are watching that, and it was, you could not look away. Red light, green light. On Hulu, probably one of the best things I've seen is Reservation Dogs. And it is about 4 Native American kids who are living on a reservation, and something happens to one of their friends, and they decide they're gonna start committing petty crimes to get enough money together to leave. And it's funny, and it's really good. You really end up liking these kids, and it really is kind of funny. And some big names are in it too. I watched 9 Perfect Strangers with Michael. It was trash, and I do not recommend that you waste a moment of your time watching this ridiculously bad miniseries. Okay? Now, I have not read the book. My friend Sarah read the book, and she said the book is similar in that the first 200 pages is just exposition and introducing all of these people, and so nothing much happens. But she said the book at the end is very different and way better. Which, I mean, it better be damn good for me to muddle through 200 pages of nothing happening. The show, Michael and I were like halfway in, and so we felt like we couldn't get out. We were trapped and had to finish it. And we were, every week we'd go, oh my God, like nothing happened. Nothing happened. What's happening? When are they going to end this damn show? And the last episode was supposed to be very dramatic and very tragic, and we just laughed and made fun of people the whole time as we're watching actors like hug the air. It was so bad. It was ridiculously bad. Horrible. No. It's a no for me. On Netflix, I watched I Am Not Okay With This. I loved it, and it was really quick. It seemed like the episodes were 10 minutes long, but I know they were way longer. It's about a girl who discovers, she's in high school, she discovers she has the power to do things with her mind when she's upset. And so anyway, the last episode, just wait for it. I was shocked, and then I laughed out loud, and then I started clapping at the TV. That's how good it was. That is called I Am Not Okay With This, and that is, yes, recommend. We watched Only Murders in the Building, so we're watching that. That's with Selena Gomez and Martin Short and Steve Martin. It's not the best, but it is entertaining. Okay, so it's kind of hokey, but super entertaining. Someone gets murdered in their building, and they're making a podcast about it, and it's kind of like an Unlikely Friends story. So it's worth watching, I think. And I did watch a movie that was written by Emma Thompson called Effie Gray, and it's about a young girl in Victorian, England, who is married off to an older man who she is really wants to be a good wife, and she, wants to love him and is expecting that he will love her back, and he just is a dud. I'll leave it at that. He's a dud. And she is very shrewd and wiggles out of this marriage unscathed. So anyway, that was really good. And it was one of those things, again, where It wasn't action-packed, but I couldn't stop watching. And of course, I love Emma Thompson, and she was in it. And her character is, I think, the kind of woman I would have liked to be in Victorian society. All right, that's what I've been up to. And if you've stuck with me this long, thank you. But I will see you guys next time. Thanks for watching. Like or subscribe. And yeah, happy fall.